All right, why don't we get started? So this is the data visualization workshop hosted by Fifth Third Bank. I am Becca Brono, and I am one of the directors of software engineering at Fifth Third, within our digital commercial line of business. I'm going to do a quick round of introductions with my co-host here, Chris.
Hey there, I'm Chris Klusner. I am a UX engineer, leading up our UX engineering team, part of our design organization. Spent time many years at the bank as a user experience designer and front-end web developer.
And Sean.
I'm a lead software engineer working on the digital mobile platforms for Fifth Third Bank. Been doing it for about 4 years now, and yeah, that's about it for me.
All right, thanks guys. We're excited to be joining you here today and talk a little bit about exciting data visualization. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Now you're going to about to see a really freaky screen within a screen within a screen. I will stop that here. Maybe. There we go, into presentation mode. Horribly slow. There we go. All right, so show me the money. Data visualization for consumer banking. Our prize, just to highlight that one once more, is $1,000 split amongst your team Amazon gift cards. So a little bit of golden history from the 1990s. Jerry Maguire, a fantastically great movie from 1996 starring Tom Cruise, Cuba Gooding Jr., and Renee Zellweger. That's where the pop culture phrase, show me the money, comes from. I have just a short little clip in case you haven't seen it yourself.
I need to feel you, Jerry! Show me the money! Jerry, you better yell! Show me the money!
Now, in the movie, Cuba Gooding Jr.'s character is talking to his sports agent, Jerry Maguire, and trying to get him to show him the money, his contracts for the Arizona Cardinals football team. But here, we're talking about a little bit of difference in show me the money. We're talking about data visualization and banking. So our challenge, we're focusing on the data visualization of our consumer monetary data. We have provided a file of 5,000 records of actual customer transactions. This has been anonymized. You will not see any real people's names or credit card information or anything like that. So it's very safe, but you do still have to sign our waiver before you can have access to it. So what is data visualization? Well, think about our culture. We are very visual. Fashion, advertising, movies, art, it's all visual. Think about how you retain information. If you see just a list of data, you may or may not read it, but if you see an image that represents that data, you're much more likely to be drawn in and retain it. So data visualization is a very powerful tool for both communicating data and retaining it. So in this challenge, the idea is to turn that data into insights. So ask yourself a few questions. What could we tell you about spending habits? How could we save more money? What does financial wellness look like? How do different households compare to others? So these are the type of things that you could visualize or draw insights from visualizing that data. So when working with our challenge, you can use any platform you like. It could be web, it could be mobile, it could be tablet, doesn't matter, whatever you're most comfortable with. So a little bit about our judging criteria. So we're going to be looking at evaluated on customer and business value, your technology or your solution, and of course, the simple wow factor. So have you defined a customer or a business problem? Have you clearly articulated to us? And does that solution relate back and solve the problem? So define a problem, solve the problem. So we'll be looking for that. Could this actually scale into a real solution that Fifth Third might want to implement with multiple users? You have to really think about how this could be blown out into a multi-thousand $million or millions of users. And how well is it architected? Are you thinking about scaling? Are you thinking about performance? Are you thinking about extensibility? So think about, we're going to be looking at your technical solution as well as your business solution. And how creative. So this is more getting back to the wow factor. How creative or innovative are you? How could this disrupt the financial industry? By disruption, we mean do something groundbreaking and changing that nobody else has ever thought of before. Also, we want you to think about your user experience. So how a user interacts with your solution. The user interface, which is more of the visuals of this. Accessibility. Accessibility is a particularly challenging area for data visualization. And also your implementation, all these factors when you're implementing and designing your solution. I'll say it again. Your solution must incorporate the data that we provide in some way. One more time. Your solution must include our data. Get that yet? Solution must include our data. I don't want anybody coming to the judging and not have missed that very important detail. So what is our data set? We've got 2 files that once you sign your agreement, you'll get access to our Fifth Third Challenge channel in Discord. And from there, you'll be able to download the 2 CSV files. So one, demographics by household. So what is a household? Household equals family in the plainest sense, but they're not necessarily related members of a group, but people living together in one house. They would be sharing a bank account, so typically a family. So we have a household number, which is our primary key, unique identifier for the row. Age range, so 0 to 20, 20 to 40, etc. Marital status, single, married, unknown. Income range, again, gives us a couple ranges. Homeowner description, this is going to be rent or own. Household composition, basically, do you have kids in this household or not? And the household size, how many people are in this household? Again, I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 plus. So the other file is card transactions. So these are debit card transactions by household. So again, we have the household number, and that is a foreign key that refers back to the household number and the demographics by household. So that will give you, that's how you link the 2 files together through that foreign key, that household number. And these ones are probably self-explanatory. Transaction date, amount, type of credit or debit, the merchant information, name, city, state, and zip code. So that is the data you will find in our Discord channel. All right, to access it, I mentioned this a little bit. You visit our regular Fifth Third channel on Discord, then you'll be able to, you'll see a release form. It's Google Doc, so a Google form rather. So you fill that out. Appropriate one for whether you're a minor or not, under 18, over 18. And after you complete that form, about 10 minutes, I believe, you get access to a private channel, Fifth Third Challenge, where you'll see our data, and which you can download in the form of CSV. All right. Moving on, I'm going to hand the ball over to Chris to talk about designing for data visualization.
Cool. Thanks, Becca. So why do we design for data visualization? Well, really, data can be viewed. Since the beginning of time, human beings have been telling stories, and we've been telling stories, and it's always been supported with images, right? So data is the beginning of a story. And pictures are worth 1,000 words. And we've given you 5,000 records. So, I think we've given you a lot of things to work with in order to start to visualize something. So why do we visualize data? Go ahead, Becca, please. we don't want to visualize data just for the sake of visualizing it, right? What we want to do, what we want to see out of this challenge is, why is that data being visualized? How would we help our customers? Are we going to inform them to make better financial decisions? A lot of times as designers at the bank, we want to improve or change behaviors of our customers, whether it means helping them, get out of debt faster, or save for a large purchase or a major life event like buying your first car or paying off student loans, or getting married or having a kid. All of those require behavioral changes in how you finance money. And additionally, when you design or visualize data, it's an opportunity to start to deliver or uncover deeper insights by giving our customers the ability to dive deeper down into that data, right? And it's not something they don't want to go through a spreadsheet or a transaction data table. A visualization gives them an opportunity to make things that are easier to understand. So what kind of principles, experience principles, do we want to convey when we visualize data? Users crave experiences that are as immersive as possible. So over on the right here, I found this really awesome example of a way to take something that we do every single day as users, of visualizing a Google search. There was a project, this won a bunch of awards in the data visualization area last year, about what do Google search results look like for cats and dogs? And so this visual designer took this opportunity to partner with Google and to come up with this really awesome solution on data visualization as something of a Google search result. And there's all these bubbles here, right? And it's all about dogs and cats and what people search around them, but through this kind of mind map that they've created. And you can actually hover over all of these circles or bubbles. And when you get down to its lowest layer and you click on it, it takes you to that Google search. So it's just a completely different way to do something that we do every single day as people who use the internet. So this is just a great example, something to maybe give you some inspiration. Another thing that you have to keep in mind is, who are you designing for? So I would venture to guess most people on here have a tech background, engineering, computer science, MIS, CIS. Guess what? You're not the audience. You're not what our Fifth Third customer set looks like. And so you have to ask yourselves, when you visualize data, and we've given you all these transactions to look at, you need to think outside your box, right? 99% of the people that we build our financial platforms for don't work in finance, don't work in IT, don't work as engineers, don't work as designers. So that's probably going to be a big challenge, but something that I think is going to be key to delivering that wow factor. Next, we have kind of some design principles that we want you to keep in mind. So when you actually start to visualize the data, what are the design principles that are important to making that visualization as user-friendly as possible? It needs to be honest, right? We want to present truthful data to that customer. It needs to be helpful, right? It gets back to wanting to change that behavior. It should be delightful, right? We all use experiences and apps and websites that go above and beyond these days, right? And the table stakes, or the bar that is set nowadays, is that experience has to be delightful. It needs to be clear, which ultimately makes it easy to use. We don't want to make our users think. It has to be scalable and also structured. If you have any questions about kind of those design principles, feel free to drop them in the chat, and I'm happy to answer them at the end. And I know we also have some design mentors from the Fifth Third design team who are participating throughout this hackathon, who would be happy to answer questions around design principles as well. Design tools that we use. These are kind of the most three popular ones across the industry. At Fifth Third, we use Sketch and also Figma. Figma has quickly become one of the most popular design tools on the market. It is web-based, and it is multiple people can collaborate on a design at once. It's also a really great way for designers and developers to collaborate all at one time. So if you have experience with that or something, you want to create wireframes or simple mock-ups, Figma might be a great tool. Sketch is a great tool. All the Fifth Third designers are experts in Sketch, happy to answer any questions. One caveat is it's only available on Mac. And then the last one's Adobe XD. It's very similar to Figma and Sketch. It's an Adobe product. You should be able to sign up, I believe, for a single user license that's good, kind of like as a, I don't think multiple people can get in there and work on a product at the same time, but it can still be shared as like read-only. All of these are free. Figma's free all the time. Sketch has a 30-day trial, so you should be able to use it for the rest of the weekend. And Adobe also, like I just mentioned, kind of has that single user free experience. One thing to keep in mind, so Becca said you can design for whatever platform you want, web, mobile, tablet, and in this example, right, I have a watch. This is the Garmin Connect, right? But the thing to think about when you're creating your design is how does it, even though you may only deliver for on one platform, how would it scale, right? With all of our products we build at Fifth Third, we build to work on mobile and web. And so that's something to keep in mind as you're coming up with your ideas and what you hope to deliver. Something that would be that we'd be asking ourselves is this something, even though you may only build it for one platform, we're going to be asking ourselves is how can we extend this to the other platforms? Mm-hmm. Lastly, moving over to tools for the web, right? So Sean's going to speak to the mobile tools here in a moment. The tools for the web, I found this really great website that's called visualizingdata.com. And at the end, I think we're going to drop this presentation out in the Discord channel as a PDF. So you'll have access to all this. Hopefully, you're not frantically writing down all these URLs. You will have those available to you here in a couple minutes. Visualizingdata.com is hundreds of different data visualization tools that are out on the web. I'm just going to point you to that site. There's a couple that we have called out for web design that are really popular JavaScript frameworks. That is d3js.org is probably the most popular of the web applications. We use it at the bank. I know it's used across many other large corporations. Google Charts, and then also High Charts, right? They're all, like I said, they're all JavaScript. They're all free to use. Add them into your project and start using your data set and seeing what you can come up with. Everything can be customized. They all have great developer documentation. So those are what's out there available to you. You don't have to use these three, right? These are just kind of the three more popular ones, but that site that I listed on the previous slide has literally dozens, if not hundreds, of other tools that may align better with your solution. With that, I think I'm handing it over to Sean.
Yeah. So thanks, Chris. Like I said earlier, I'm Sean. I'm a mobile dev at Fifth Third. I'm just going to talk briefly about some of the unique scenarios you might encounter when designing, whether it is data visualization or in this case mostly for that, but there are other considerations no matter what your design is. So one of the things you always got to consider from a mobile app perspective is rotation. Users do like to rotate their device. Do you want to allow that? I mean, and if you do, what is that going to look like? And especially when it comes to data visualization, if you only go to portrait, what kind of chart would look best? Like, I don't know that a line graph would be very intuitive in portrait mode only. That might look better in landscape mode. Maybe a pie chart would be better for locking it into portrait. But regardless, given the orientation of the device, what is the best tool, visualization type to use for that? And not all types will translate to a small canvas. So let's take Chris's picture from earlier, from that Google Zeitgeist, is what I would call it. But essentially, like, how would you as a user like to interact with that type of visualization on a mobile phone? Sure, maybe if you had that 12-inch iPad, that is an abomination sometimes because it's really big. But why would that would be the only medium I could see as a portable device that would work for. And then you got your accessibility concerns. So there's a lot of people who are colorblind. people who can't see red and green or browns or blues or any color at all. How are you going to represent to them your visualization? Are you going to let them choose the colors, or do you just want to go black and white? You know, those are considerations to consider. You know, for people with those kinds of disabilities, and then the visually impaired, people who actually interact with their device using either screen readers or other interfaces. So I use screen reader as an example here. How might you audibly represent your data? These are all very unique considerations that you do run into on the web, but more so on mobile is where they're really going to be critical. Next slide, Michael. So just some resources to get you started. I didn't want to, anyone who's planning to do a data representation on mobile, here are some charting libraries that I've heard good things of or I've seen. So for Android, we've got MP Chart, Dev Express Chart. This one is a paid one, but there is a free trial, so you can use it during the hackathon. And any chart, and these are all cross-platform, so no matter which platform you decide, whether it's Android or iOS, these will work cross-platform. The charts for iOS is the equivalent of MP Android chart. React, if you're going to do like maybe a cross-platform platform, so to speak, React Native is available. Here's some best charts, some good charts for there, and Xamarin if you're into C# programming and you want to write a mobile app using Microsoft's platform. There's that available to you, as well as this following link, which is a good Medium article I found about considerations for data visualization on mobile platforms. So kind of went through that pretty quick, but hopefully that'll give you some ideas on what to look for mobile design. Thank you.
Thanks, Sean. Thanks, Chris. All right. Now it's time for questions. You can ask us anything, either about the challenge, you can ask about working at Fifth Third, you can ask about our specific career choices and what we do. It really is ask anything.
Yep. Oh.
All right, there's a lot going on in the chat. I just switched over there.
Mm-hmm. So how often do we use these tools at our respective jobs? From Josh. So I haven't personally used the charts. I can at least speak from that, but I know Chris and the design team regularly use all those tools he presented earlier, but I can let him speak to that.
Yeah, in our online banking platform, we do use D3 charts. And like Sean said, for design, we use Sketch, and we are planning to switch to Figma in 2021. So all of our designers are proficient in those. What is the criteria for judging in these challenge?
So I referenced those briefly, but I can at the beginning, but I can recap in case you joined a little bit late. We are looking for, have you defined the business problem, and have you satisfied that problem? So have you identified and solved for that problem? So that's the first criteria. The second one is your technical solution. So we're looking at, could this fit well? How sound is it? How, I don't remember exact words I used, but we're going to be looking at the technical solution and how well it was implemented. We do have developers judging this. And then finally, the wow factor. So how disruptive to the financial industry might it be, either for the bank or for the customer base? So those are the three factors that we're looking at. Another question, do we need to design an app for this mission? You don't get a long time to show your final solution. So design precedes solution, but design is also incorporated into the final solution. So I would say we're going to be focusing on the final solution, which would incorporate the design, of course.
Any tools or APIs that will be able to map the merchant name to a particular category? That's a great question. Do we have category at all in our data set? Because I can't.
We only have merchant name. We don't have what category that merchant might fit in.
Yeah, I just looked up. MX does not have a free API. What's the other big one?
Maybe Google Places. you might be able to get a temporary. Google Places might be able to do that. I know you can get an API key and you get like 10,000 API calls, for a free license. That might be your best bet. I would look into Google Places because that's the best one I can think of right now. I don't know if it'll fully meet all your needs though. Sorry, we didn't have a better answer to that question.
I scrolled up and I see one. Are we talking about? We're trying to fill out the form and get added. Now, I believe there's a 10-minute delay. Out the Google form, and then you get access to Fifth Third's plural challenge, and that's where you'll find their data set.
So just to take one quick step back to that, there's something in Google Maps booking API called the Merchants Feed. Don't know how useful it is. I just Googled briefly. That might be something else to look into. And I'll leave it at that.
When you've developed an interface, how do you evaluate how well it meets each of your user types?
Great question.
Great question.
I'll take that one. Yeah, that's a huge challenge. We get over 1 million logins a day to online banking and our mobile apps. I think probably per each platform. We have developed user personas that we have spent years developing and going out and doing market research and usability studies to evaluate the types of users who are using our application. And we're able to break things down by customer segment as well as like user archetypes. We have a team both in marketing and on the design side dedicated to this practice. So it is a huge part of user experience. User experience research has become its own skill set in and of itself. We actually hire UX research designers, and we're building out and growing that team in 2021.
And from a technical perspective, and from an app perspective, there's a concept called A/B testing. So where you basically design any number of interfaces, and you can control them remotely and deploy them to user segments to see which one performs better. Like there's a number of different platforms you can do that. Leanplum, Optimizely, Firebase for mobile and web. So something to be in mind.
To expand on what Chris was saying, the user personas are a character, kind of. So we're thinking about how would a person like this, defined as a character, interact with our application, and then we switch gears. How would a person like this? But they're fictitious; they're characters.
Yeah.
We also do real user testing with actual users to get their feedback. It's obviously a very small sample size of our user base because we can't reach out to them all, but we can get feedback from real users on the different ideas that we have for our interface, and then what Sean is talking about, okay, we've narrowed it down to 2. Let's see which one performs better in real life. And that's where we're actually reaching our actual user base in large volume, and we can gather data and data-driven decisions on that. All right, our one-member teams allowed. I defer to the RevolutionUC organizers. Josh, you're out there. Can we do? Said yes. Awesome. I guess I'm last call for questions. We've caught up with all the ones in the chat.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, so feel free to keep asking questions out on Discord.
Yep. And I'll be. Oh, go on, Chris.
I know we have representatives from design and engineering from Fifth Third. Happy to answer questions throughout the day and into the early mid-evening for sure. We probably won't be up at 4 a.m. with you all, so maybe try to think of your questions earlier in the day, a better chance of getting them answered.
And you can always leave a message in Discord if it is 4 in the morning, and I'll try to check when I wake up to see if there's something I can answer.
All right, folks, thanks for attending. It's been a pleasure speaking with you all, and I hope to connect with you on Discord. All right.
Yep. See ya.